CC Review. So, CC Spectrum has come to an end. Let's review everything that has occurred in this particular time, starting from the daily map, and then we talk about the permanent map, and then we end off with my overall feelings to how I find the CC. So, let's start off with the daily map first. Now, the daily map this time, we had 8 maps that has come into play. There's Pyrite Gorge all the way up until Abandoned Mine. Now, if I were to rate the easiness from easiest to hardest in this particular time, we start off with Risk 8, alright? Easiest to hardest. I think a lot about the fact that we shouldn't just look at the high-end players as to how comfortable it is to risk-gate the maps. Usually high-end players have no trouble to actually clear off any of the risk-gate as long as they have a lot of 6 stars. But for people who are new to the game or mid-game and they don't have a lot of operators, some of these maps can prove to be a challenge. In terms of risk-gate, I would say that the hardest first was, I believe it was Pyrite Gorge. Pyrite Gorge was a little ridiculous to do some risk gates. In fact, it was my most watched risk gate guide this time around. So definitely that one proves as a challenge. The second hardest will probably be Area 6 Ruins. Area 6 Ruins is very unkind for their whole top lane management problem. The casters all coming in, you got a middle lane and then you got a bottom lane all to handle while facing the wrath of the W herself. So I would say that Area 6 is the second hardest map, followed probably by East Armory. The requirement for East Armory to have good snipers, to have good, possibly even slowers or range guards can be a little daunting. So I would say that East Armory was the third hardest map this time around. We'll move on to Windswept. Windswept was probably a bit of a difficult stage as well for people to handle, especially if you know nothing about the enemies that are in Windswept. If you've never played with the DM as an event before, you never tried the Sentinels, you never went against Sarkaz Grudge Bearers and the Blade Weavers, this map can be a little bit of a challenge. But I would say that this is in the middle of the difficulty, probably the 4th most difficult one, followed by the easier side. So Deserted Factory, probably the 3rd easiest or the 5th hardest, whichever way you look at it. The 3rd easiest map is Deserted Factory. The 2nd easiest map is Lockdown Prison, I would say. This one was actually very kind this time around. Lockdown Prison could have been a difficult risk gate map, but it was actually, they gave nicer risk to complete risk gate, thankfully this time. So I would say that this map was quite a breather, and then afterwards it's followed by Abandoned Mine. Like, Abandoned Mine was terribly simple this time. Like, they didn't buff the Colossus, they didn't buff the enemy's defense or rest too badly to make it still a comfortable one to manage. Of course, there was a day where there's a HP up and all, but I think it's still fine at the end of the day. Like, all of Abandoned Mine's map were kind, at the very least. But that's for risk gate, in terms of how the risk gates are from the hardest to easiest. But if we talk about max risk, right? Which was the hardest one to max risk, which was the easiest one to max risk? I would say that Pyrite Gorge is still the hardest one to go about doing max risk. Definitely was a ridiculous map. As I think the second day of Pyrite Gorge sent many people mad. And then afterwards it's followed by I believe Area 6 Ruins was the second hardest to max risk this time around. It was quite a challenging map to deal with all the range increase, the attack up, the HP down and all. So this one was a challenge. Then the third hardest map to do max risk, no, I think it's on par actually. I would say that East Armory, Deserted Factory and Windswept, I don't think any are more difficult than the other. I think these 3 maps are of equal difficulty this time to actually complete a max risk for them. They have their own parts that makes to each their own tough, but I don't feel too drastic of a difference in these 3 maps. Then the second easiest map to max risk is probably Abandoned Mine. Like, Abandoned Mine is easy to risk it, but it's not easy when you're talking about max risk, in a way. The easiest one to max risk this time around is Lockdown Prison. Like, it was definitely quite straightforward and simple to actually clear it off. So that's like a little bit of a ranking of all my daily maps as to how I feel in terms of their difficulty. Now, let's go to the permanent map. Now, the permanent map itself is Arena 8. If we put Risk 18 difficulty of Arena 8 compared to all the previous CCs, I would say that Arena 8 is one of the hardest CCs that we got in a while. Like, this came after Let's Seal. Let's Seal was a walk in the park. That thing was so straightforward and simple. You can do all kinds of variety of strategies to clear it off. So this took it up a huge notch. It's a leap across a mountain to actually do this. So I would par this such that we all know, for those of you who played the game in a long time, CC Beta, the very, very first CC, was definitely the hardest CC all around. But then the part after that, the second hardest CC, would probably be Pyrite Gorge. I think Pyrite Gorge still takes a leader as being quite a complicated CC for how, if you didn't have Angelina or Ea Fiela at that point in time, it made it a difficult map to tackle. Like, arts damage was king at the end of the day for that one. If you did like a guards based strategy like a Blaze and whatnot, it was still quite difficult to do risk 18. So that one was definitely the second hardest. And then I would say that the third hardest CC comes to Spectrum. Like, Spectrum is not kind when you're a new player. If you're someone who's new, you don't have any Elite 2 operators, or you have some Elite 2 operators but not a crazy lot, this CC is not friendly at all for a beginner. And even if you have strong operators, the mechanics that comes in this CC because of these enemies are tough. Pincer Vs are thick. These guys are the trash mobs, but then there's a problem where you have to tolerate with their sniper damage while their shield is on. This guy only likes arts damage unless you have very strong physical dealers. This feels like a boss of the damn stage. Even though we have two bosses, this Blade Helm Nightclub trainee is like the third boss of the stage. And some people will even say they feel harder than the other two. So, which I don't deny. They are quite a menace to tackle for the fact that they have this ability of downing the attack of your operators, whoever that has the highest attack on the map. So this person definitely made it complicated for a lot of people to clear this understandably. And then these two, well, the Corrupted Knight is a little kinder-ish, but the Withered Knight is a pain. Once you don't know how to outrange the Withered Knight, if you clump all your operators so close together, and then he shoots that purple arrow, right? He goes pop, and then everyone gets a purple arrow, they explode, your operators just vanish into thin air. This second boss is much more frustrating than the first one, I find. And all in all, because of how the mechanics are on the tougher side to understand, this is the difficult CC. Just not as hard as Pyrite, but this is definitely on the third hardest realm. The next CC that is on the easier line, like after this, is I believe Cinder probably comes after this one in terms of difficulty, followed by... Oh, no, not Cinder, my bad. I think Blade was a little bit tougher than Cinder here. So, in terms of the order right now, it's Beta, Pyrite, Spectrum, Blade, Cinder, Barren Land, and Let's Heal. I find that is the order of difficulty. And we are gonna get a good breather after this, since there's no events after CC Spectrum for a while until Preluding Lights decides to drop. The next CC is gonna be CC6, and then there's gonna be a CC7. I don't know much about CC6 in terms of its difficulty and all, but I think CC6 is actually off par with CC Spectrum in terms of difficulty. Like how CC Spectrum has 3 lanes for you to handle. There's a left lane, there's a middle lane, and a right lane. CC Wild Scales, which is CC6 that's to come in February for us, for AK Global, that one also has a triple lane problem for you to handle. And that sucks because you have to spread all your energy to manage every single lane, finding the right operators in each particular place and spot. It's unlike Pine Suit, where Pine Suit appears like a map that has multiple lanes. There's like 4 lanes look alike, but in fact, there's only the problem of the central part of the map. You concentrate all your energy in the center of the map to kill off all the enemies, which makes it a much simpler CC to understand and deal with. So, Pine Suit is gonna become one of the easier CCs, whereas Spectrum's permanent map and the next CC that is Wild Scales permanent map, I think both of these are a little bit on the harder side to deal with. That is a little bit of my difficulty review towards this CC. Now, you notice that I've never gotten anything higher than risk 18, right? I'm still only at risk 18, I didn't do 21, 27, all that kind of thing. Why didn't I do any higher? Because lack of time. This CC was done during my own university examinations. It wasn't easy to make guides and videos while doing so. I was a little ambitious. I stated that I wanted to do CC in a way where I wanted to produce a permanent map guide to show you guys as many ways to clear this permanent map as possible. But I couldn't keep up with that because I realized that there was so much factors to consider into this. I spent many hours playing Risk 18, but it wasn't easy to come up with a guide that felt original and of quality for me to actually make for you all. So I scrapped that. I did do a Risk 18 strategy, a Caster Defender one, on the 6th day of CC, but I wish I produced something for you guys on day 1 or day 2. I will have to apologize if you guys felt that my CC videos this time around were not of quality or up to par to you all. Even if I look at the daily map, where it saves some of you all to clear off the Risk 8 or even Max Risk, the daily maps itself, I felt like I could have done a better job, since in CC Let's See, I was very elaborate when I made my guides. I would showcase additional video clips, additional images and explanation to really get people to understand what goes on in the stage. But I couldn't really afford to dedicate to this CC this time around to really produce all this elaborateness. So yeah, I really have to say sorry about that. I do hope that in CC6, which is February next year, I will be in a freer state to help you guys in the CC better, to make quality guides that you guys can learn from, guides that you guys can feel entertained to watch. It gets a little sad when being a creator and I don't see a lot of people using the videos or watching as much of the videos as usual. I think I'm not seen as a guide maker in the content creator space of Arknights. The viewers aren't to blame here. I find that if, let's say, people are not watching my stuff, then it's on me. You know, I have to work harder and better to make sure that my guides are of quality that people will want to watch. So you have my assurance and a little promise that I will work harder in the next few CC, whether it's the daily guide, the permanent guide, or even creating fun permanent guide videos, right? I didn't do things that I did in the Let's See You previously. I didn't do no gacha, I didn't do one player redeploy, I didn't do white hair only like the previous time around. I would mix more funky and fun stuff when I do the next CC. That's that in terms of how I feel towards making videos for you all. It's fun though, at the end of the day. I've spent more effort making my daily videos than the permanent videos. And a lot of people don't know what happens behind the scenes when I'm making my guide. I don't take my strategies off Bilibili, like the CN players, and then I post it on YouTube. I rather create something of my own, original, for you guys to watch and enjoy, so that I'm feeling the CC mood together with you all. I don't like to spoil myself in terms of what the strategies or the answers are. In that way, I make sure that the feeling of CC is very authentic. But to have played all the daily map blind and really suffer with all the max race and risk 8, to make easy risk 8s for you guys to follow, a lot of work is put in. I spent hours to make all of those videos, and I have a lot of video footage of myself mouthing and going crazy. But because I don't have enough storage space in my own computer to save all these videos, or I don't have like a convenient thumb drive around to really store the videos in a place, I have to always delete these videos. But I feel bad because I think it would have been interesting if I compiled all my failed compilations to make the daily guides, put them in one, and make it into a finale video to conclude CC. Maybe I'll do that in the next CC. I get a better hard drive, I install it in my computer to store more videos in, and then afterwards you guys can watch the journey of how is it like to make the guides that I do. I think that's all that I'll put in terms of my video making experience. There's a final point that I want to put before I close off this video, which is, if you're a new player and you felt overwhelmed by this CC, don't worry. It's perfectly fine that you did not clear risk 18. If you're at risk 16, 10, wherever, or even 3, it's fine. CC is just a time for you to enjoy. If you don't feel like you are off par, you don't feel like you have the energy for it now, there's always the next one. You may miss out on this one, you may even miss out on a bunch of medals, which... Oh my... Alright, I haven't done my medals yet. I still have a few challenges that I need to complete. Like, I can show you over here. I may not have done this CC medals. I'm going to finish it after I film off this video. I'll go and finish my last 3 challenges to get my medal. But if you feel like you're losing out because you don't get like the medals of this CC, you want to be a completionist, I can show you that in the previous CCs that I played, this is CC4, Let's See You, I didn't get my medals as well because I didn't clear the dailies enough apparently in the previous CC. What happened was that I made so much daily guides in a second account that I didn't have time to complete my dailies in my main account. And then I forgot, I just left them alone. I didn't complete it for 10 days. Well, I did complete it for 10 days, but there were days that I forgot to collect the rewards. So, as you can see, there's a requirement to collect the rewards. I cleared it, but my rewards still sat there. Because of that, I had to just leave it be. I didn't get the full Let's You medal. And it's not the only CC that I didn't get the Let's You medal. I also didn't get the medal for CC Blade, I believe. So yeah, CC Blade. Because I forgot to complete one challenge contract. Like, it feels like a loser moment, you know, oh, you didn't complete the CC, haha, you're not a good player. There's nothing like that. Even if you lose a bunch of medals, it doesn't dictate how you are. It's your own game anyways. This isn't a PvP game. You mark your own journey. If you can't clear it off now, just clear it off the next time around. I lost medals. If you feel bad for losing medals, then you can feel better that you know someone now that didn't have the medals. I didn't get all of them, but I don't feel terrible. I'm still happy as ever. I don't think this determines that, oh, I'm a terrible player or whatsoever. I can get better. I don't need medals to tell people how good I am. Or I don't even need to tell people how good I am. I know myself. That's the idea. So that's the thing. Don't feel bad about not getting all the medals that you want. You are still perfectly fine and capable to play this game. Alright, I think that's all that I want to mention in this video. I hope you guys enjoyed my little review of the maps of this CC and my own review of my own progress as to how I felt I dedicated in terms of video making to you guys on YouTube. Anyways, I'm still in my examinations now, but it's been so busy that I cannot keep up with producing some of the fun videos that I wish for you guys to watch. I know a lot of you guys are looking forward to the limited part 3. That video will come very, very soon. I'll get on to making it over this weekend, but it needs a lot of editing and a lot of planning for me to get that finale of a video done. So look forward to it. I believe I'll get it posted next week. If lucky enough, it will be early next week, if not late next week. Alright, that's all I'll mention in this video. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this, and if not, I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.